Thanks everybody for coming. Um, Today is kind of a special meeting on our Neighborhood Voices initiative. Um, you guys that have been with us for a long time know that for years we've been, fighting bills and supporting bills and trying to get good housing legislation. But frankly, over the last 6 years, most of the housing legislation has been, very market driven. Has not provided for the affordable housing that Livable California supports. And while passing all these bills, the state has been taking away power from the communities, from individuals, from the your planning agencies, from your board of supervisors, and essentially dictating how your neighborhoods are going to look, dictating that from Sacramento on a one size fits all basis. And we don't believe that one size fits all. So while we're continuing this year, as always, to fight the bad bills and support some good ones, there's really only one long-term solution that I see, and that is getting the cities to take back the power on land use, take that back over from this state one size fits all process. And so our Neighborhood Voices is the initiative that the one thing that I see that could do that. So we'll have a presentation today on where it stands, where it's going, what it needs, how we can help. And I think that's going to be the main thing. Even though we're going to present to you guys stuff that some of you already know some of it, but we'll provide the slide deck after, because we'd like to ask you guys, our members and attendees, to become the emissaries for this, because we really have to get the word out if we're going to get it passed. So with that, I'll turn it over. We got two proponents from the initiative today, Jovita Mendoza and Susan Candell. And I'll turn it over to Jovita to start.
Good morning. I'm going to share my screen. I hope you all can see it. Let me know if everything looks okay for you.
Looks good.
It does. Perfect. Well, good morning. Thank you all for being here. I think there's a lot of familiar faces, so nice seeing you all again, or names if you have the black box. And Susan and I have been working diligently on our Neighborhood Voices. If you don't know who I am Jovita Mendoza. I'm from Northern California, Brentwood. I am a council person. I've been there since 2020, so this is my first term as council person. And one of the reasons that I ran was because I moved from East Oakland to Brentwood. I wanted more space. I wanted a single family home. My parents came from Mexico, and it was always our dream to have like a single family home. So once I got a little bit older, I did that in Brentwood. And there's 6 of us in my family. Some, I have a sister who loves Oakland, lives in her apartment, and that is her jam, and she loves it, and it's great. She has that option. And I moved to the burbs. I'm more of a burb girl. So I was happy that I could find a place that worked for me. And I ran for city council because what I was seeing is that there was a lot of building going on without any kind of thought on our schools. I have kids in the schools, and I'm seeing the impact of kids having to have classes in the hallways. And no, they didn't review any kind of environmental. My house is built right next to abandoned oil wells, and I was surprised that was happening. So there was a lot of stuff going on in building that I wasn't happy with. And my husband said, well, if you're so upset, why don't you run for office? So I work full time. I am a senior analytics manager for a wine company, and at night I'm on council. So I'm a little busy, and I have 2 daughters. So it's kind of crazy. So that's why I ran, and why I'm passionate about our neighborhood voices, because I do feel like Rick said, it's kind of the only solution we have. Everything else, like suing bill by bill, is just plain whack-a-mole, and the cities can't afford that. So I don't think that that's a good long-term solution. And Susan is one of my partners in crime. You want to introduce yourself?
Yes. Hi, Susan Campbell. I'm on the Lafayette City Council and a former mayor. And I ran in my city because same thing, all the state-driven trickle-down theory. So my neighborhood and Jovita's is very different, but we're getting so much more development in our town, and all they are is making our town more expensive. We can't get affordable housing to save our lives. And we know that, and none of these policies that are being passed right now are going to help with our real issues in California. And that's what gets me frustrated. I'm an engineer by day. I also have a full-time job and on council. My kids are thankfully out of the thing because this is kind of like a third job on top of those other two jobs, but it's my passion. And I don't think this is the nuclear option. We have to do this. And you'll see later why in this presentation that we only have two options right now. We can roll over and let this happen, or we can fight it, and that's it. Otherwise, it's game over in California. So, all right, back to Jovita.
So we're going to tell you all about the initiative, but the big message today is that on the 27th, so in about less than a week, on Thursday, we're having a big fundraiser, and we need to raise funds. We did try to get out there and get signatures. Was it last year? Just, grassroots. That didn't work. But we know we're going to have to pay professional signature gatherers to get signatures to get this on the ballot. Those signatures can go anywhere from $3 to $8. I think when we were first out there, they were going for like $8. It was a very competitive market in signature gathering. So our number one message is we are having a fundraiser. We would like for all of you to come. We would like for all of you to amplify our message and share this invitation with all of your friends, all of your neighbors, on all of your social media outlets. And we'll be putting the links in chat for you so that you have them all. And we're also going to, Rick would like us to share the deck, so we'll send that out as well. But that is the number one message. If we want to take back local control, we've got to get this on the ballot. And unfortunately, it takes money. So we are going to have our fundraiser and ask everyone to help chip in. So like Susan was saying, our land use policy is broken, and it started, you can start seeing the bills going back to 2016. Little by little, they started taking away control, and now it's full on control. Like Sacramento wants to manage our land use for cities and do a one size fits all zoning plan for everyone. And it puts your developers in charge of what goes on in your city, because you won't get a chance to plan for anything. And it's all about their profits. And the long-term goal is to eliminate single-family housing. We've heard people like Senator Wiener say it out loud. People have heard him say it. So I don't think it's a secret that that's what they want. If you go on a YIMBY Twitter page or a YIMBY newsletter, they really have a disdain for single-family housing. So that is going on there. And let's see, trickle-down housing doesn't work. Again, these bills from 2016 have not helped the affordability at all. It's actually gotten worse, because the more you can build, the more you can add, the more your land gets expensive and you can build up. So the actual land is getting more expensive, which is making our housing more expensive, and it's not working. And Susan, jump in if there's anything you want, you want to add to this at all. Yeah.
All good.
And it's in investors. I mean, you can look at any politicians' donations, and it is builders and developers and real estate investors. They are kind of a big bulk of what keeps our candidates running, and it pays for them to do that. And let's see. And like I said, I came from Oakland, and if you go to the Oakland today versus the Oakland I grew up, I don't even recognize some of it. Land has become so expensive, and these laws have actually made it worse for people of color. We're being moved out. If you look at Antioch, which is right next door, most of those people are from Oakland because they were priced out of where they grew up. They could no longer afford to live there. And there's really no affordable housing options for them there. So that's that. And California is eliminating a local democracy. And this is one of the things that bothers me the most. I really welcomed being able to go to a city council meeting before I was elected and speak to what a project was, my suggestions for modifications, or my concern about our schools. And now with this latest SB 423, it specifically says in there that the public doesn't get a hearing. It is what it is, and we don't get to say anything, which is very discouraging to me. Like I like to go and give my electeds my opinions, and now it's not going to matter at all.
We've become rubber stamps. Jovita and I have talked about this a couple times. There's getting less and less reasons to even be a city without land use and zoning control. Like basically we'll be in charge of garbage collecting. And that's chaos. It's planning chaos. This is literally our last chance in order not to have just anarchy in planning.
Yeah. And the latest bill, SB 423, is discouraging. It does a lot of things. It removes coastal protection. It removes CEQA. It, again, removes your voice into being able to say anything. And the hard thing for me to wrap my brain around on this one, as a finance person, that's what I do during the day. Halfway through your RENA cycle, if your city hasn't met half of your RENA cycle allocation, this kicks in, which is when they can do whatever they want with no one being able to stop them. I would say that it would probably be better for me as a dirt owner to hold on to that land for 4 years, not build, and wait for this to kick in. So what's going to happen is I see a lot of developers holding land for 4 years and then exercising this, and we won't be able to say anything. So that's one of my biggest concerns. Do you want to talk about the builder's remedy here? I think you're better than that.
Sure.
I mean, yeah.
Sure. So if our house, all the cities are going through these housing elements, if a city or county does not have a substantially compliant, the term is really important, and it is being completely morphed out of its mind right now. Basically, there's a 20-year-old law that says if you're not compliant, it allows any project of any size at any location in your city. And I'm not joking, any project of any size at any location, it has to have 20% affordable for now. But the problem is that this term substantially compliant is, we thought it had some court cases behind it where cities could adopt their own housing element and you'd be safe. But no, HCD just came out a couple of weeks ago saying, oh no, we're the only ones that can declare you guys substantially compliant. That means all the cities have to rely on this no oversight government agency who is able and willing to delay granting you being substantially compliant in order to get the builder's remedy to kick in. And so this is what's going to happen at halfway through our RENA cycles. And what Jovita said, we're going to get penalized. We have to not only approve projects, half of our projects for the cycle, we have to build them by 4 years. And so no city in California is going to build half of their RENA 6-cycle RENA allocations by 4 years. And it's just not going to be possible. So the first city that got hit with this was Santa Monica, literally 12 projects totaling 4,000 units just a few days before adopting their housing element. You think anything was sneaky there? Do you think that they've been working on it with staff or somebody? This whole thing just smells like somebody knew this was going to come into effect, threw in these projects right before they adopted their housing element, and the city knew about it, the staff knew about it, but they didn't tell any of their council members. And then on top of that, YIMBY Law is offering to fund project proposals under builder's remedy and is suing many cities.
So here are some projects that are happening right now. So if you want, I don't know, you can go over
Sure.
the builder's remedy stuff. Yeah.
So the one on the left is that this is just one of the 12, and it's a 90-unit builder's remedy project in Santa Monica, and it's going to be ministerially approved, no CEQA, basically staff signs off on it, and it gets built. The one on the top right is a 20-unit builder's remedy project in Los Altos Hills on a 2-acre parcel in a single family home neighborhood. Like they are, and the residents are just going, wait, how does it even happen? And then on the bottom is just one of the 85 unit builders remedy in Mountain View. And it's only on a half-acre parcel where a single family home now exists. Right, so then this is, do you want to do this one or want me to do it?
You can do it.
You just went through all of them.
Oh, sorry.
Karma in San Francisco. Wiener is fighting YIMBY. So if you guys haven't seen this one, this is not a builder's remedy project. This one is coming under the density bonus. And it is a 55-story monstrosity that used to be 6 low buildings. And they went back and this architect drew up this thing, and literally San Francisco, like Scott Wiener, this is in his district. And his comments were, it's a distraction from the housing work that we're doing. I don't think they're relying on any housing law that I've authored as a legislator. I think they're relying on the state density bonus law, which has been around for 40 years, which is complete nonsense. Every single thing that he's been doing, starting in 2016, has led to this obvious conclusion. This is a foregone conclusion pretty much anywhere. So it's true, the state density bonus law has been around for 40 years, but since 2016, I think there's probably like 5 or 6 other laws that tacked onto this that make this allowed. And why this is allowed is that you, in the new density bonus, you're allowed to have unlimited waivers and concessions. That means they can take, I'm gonna have a height waiver. We all know this is too tall. It's way too tall for that area. But all they have to do is invoke the density bonus law and then they get height waivers. We've had 3 projects like this in Lafayette where we've had to grant basically height, setbacks, everything, rubber stamping them because of the density bonus law. And so somehow Scott Wiener doesn't think that this was the natural culmination of what's going on from all the laws that he's passing. He's delusional. And there's a lot of us that think this is a real, he's going to probably try to run for Nancy Pelosi's seat. And we're thinking this may be the thing that takes him down, because it's going to be wildly unpopular. He's going to try to distance himself from it, but he can't. This is what he's done. And the YIMBYs, these other 2 guys are famous YIMBY guys, and they are calling Scott Wiener a NIMBY right now. So the whole thing is just, it's hilarious, right? But this is where we are. This is basically what all these laws have done is reduced us to this. I mean, we could have Miami Beach in the sunset, and it's going to be allowed by law. And who's going to profit off that? All the developers and speculators, and all the people will have to leave. That's it.
Okay, so we talked a little bit about what, the initiative is the only option that we see happening. This is a constitutional amendment that says, because right now the state said, because we have a state of emergency with housing and housing shortage, they could step in and tell us what to do with our zoning. What we're saying is we would like a constitutional amendment that makes it very clear that land use and zoning decisions are a matter of city business, not state business, and they could not tell us what to do with it. So immediately after the adoption, you can choose to either adopt the bills that they push forward or not adopt them. So you can ignore the state laws if that is what your city wants to do. Some cities, some of these bills do work for some cities. And if you want to keep that on the books, there is nothing that keeps you from doing that. You can embrace the ones that work for you. Allows communities to change local zoning and development to what works for the community. Like I was just saying, you can write your own land use and zoning. And then who supports the initiative? So 36 individual cities have signed up. My city in Brentwood is one of them. We sent in a letter of support of the Our Neighborhood Voices initiative. So SCAG, which is the group of cities in Southern California, it's 191 cities have gotten together and supported the initiative. California Contract Cities, which is about 80 cities, the South Bay Council of Governments, and over 200 individual city and county leaders. So I, as an individual, some of my fellow council members have sent in their support, which is great. If you can go to your councils and have them send in a letter of support or support individually if they can't get a full council vote, that would be really appreciated. And then over 25,000 individual residents. So getting the word out, I think, is probably our biggest obstacle, but we'd love to have more than 25,000. That's why I think early in this meeting, I said, we would love your help amplifying our voices to get more people to know who we are and what we're doing and why we're doing it. So we did some polling, and our initiative polls really, really well. I think people like democracy and they like having a voice. So 64.8% of the people voted saying yes, they would vote for this initiative. 22.7 said no, which I mean, it's expected. Some people really do believe that we should not have individual zoning, and 12.6 are unsure. And I think once we become a little bit more, they hear a little bit more about it, I think we could sway them over to the yes side.
And we only need 50% to win.
Yes. So, geographically it does vary. I'm going to be honest, in my area, you can see the San Francisco Bay Area, it's a little tougher. I am not the majority of, I'm a Democrat. It's not the majority of what my Democratic Party likes, but I also think the tide is turning. We just had a meeting with Assemblywoman Ortega from like San Leandro, Hayward area, and she agrees trickle down is not working, and she's seeing it in her neighborhood. Again, I grew up in East Oakland. I went to San Leandro High, and we're just seeing gentrification and people being moved out of that area because the trickle down isn't working. So you can see your area there if you want to look at that. So people get asked about the timing. This is the timing. We would like to send it to the AG for title and summary as soon as possible, but the last day we can do it is July 3rd. So the sooner we collect money, the sooner that we can get it for title and summary. That's why we're kind of gung-ho on raising funds right now. After we get title and summary back from the AG, we have 180 days to collect those signatures. We turn those signatures in, and then March through June, they verify the signatures and they do all their certification, and then we get on the ballot November 5th. So that is the timing. But again, July is the drop dead date. We would love to get it done before that, just to have some cushion there. So you can join us. It's a statewide coalition of local electeds. Like I said before, you can amplify your message. We're also about affordable housing. I think there's some misconceptions that we don't believe in affordable housing. I fought for inclusionary affordable housing in my town. They used to take in lieu fees, not build any affordable housing. We now have an ordinance on the books where every single new development has to have 13% affordable housing, and there is no in lieu fees for anything 9 units and over, because usually our 9 units and under is usually like family people that are doing it, but 9 units and over, there's no in lieu fees. On top of that, one of our ordinances on the books is that they can satisfy their requirement by taking one lot, dividing it in two, and getting 2 units out of one, which is fine. They're 2 townhomes, but actually I have an item on the agenda on Tuesday that they get. I'd like to just be 1, but I know I'm not going to get that. So I'm going to fight for each townhouse to be 3/4 of credit, so that, for example, the last development, I got 8 units of affordable housing. With my 3/4 credit for a townhouse, I would actually get 10. So we actually really believe in affordable housing. We just feel that the way that they're doing it is not the right way. We feel like there's other levers they could be pulling to help those people who need help with their housing. So I say this till I'm blue in the face. We need your help to spread the word, educate your neighbors, raise money, and get ready to collect signatures. So we all talk about this, but I think we need to start raising the funds. So how much is it worth to you for us to all get our local voice back in zoning and land use? And Susan, I don't know if there's anything you want to add.
No, that's about it, guys. And like you said, we've got 25,000 people supporters. If everybody gave $100, we would have enough money to start. That's $2.5 million. And so think about it that way. $100. I mean, how big of a deal? It's like going out to dinner. And we really just need everybody to dig deep and pitch in right now. Otherwise, we won't be able to go out and get signatures. That's where we are right now. We have to get this money. And if you can donate $100, awesome. If you can't, that's okay too. But if you can donate more, I know there's a lot of people out there that can donate a lot more than $100. And we really need it right now. So please, like I said, dig deep. Thanks.
So Rick, I don't know if you want to we could start taking questions.